Welcome to the first part of our E3CNC journey. Let me quickly check that everything is in order. We do have audio, I think. So I think everything is good. We have picture, we have audio. Hi, the Ravenkeeper. So, now, where do we start? So new project. It's an Ender 3 CNC. Actually, Ravenkeeper, who just joined, is the designer of that little tool. And so far, I have a lot of parts here, and I don't really have like a lot of idea how to put it together yet. Let's just quickly jump in and take a look at how this is supposed to turn out. So this is the Ender 3 Rodmod. So there's a Ender 3 CNC, which is using all of the Ender parts, so it's relatively cheap built. And this one is a little bit like the upgraded version. This one uses LMU 12 bearings and 12mm smooth rods. So it should be a little bit more like stiff compared to the stock Ender 3 CNC. And also we have linear rails on Z actually. So it's a little bit more like an upgraded build. But I figured if I build one, I kind of want to have it a little bit more rigid. Because my end goal here would be to also like manufacture small like aluminum parts for printers myself. So yeah. And yeah, welcome Narval, welcome Steve, and Harlem, welcome. You have a very weird name this week. Welcome. So yeah, so this is kind of how this is supposed to turn out. Basically, this is a little bit like, it's like a printer. It's just like a little bit different. So in the end, like we have steppers, we have rods in this case, we have lead screws instead of belts. But in the end, it is a printer. We will also run Clipper later on. So it will be just like a printer. But in certain ways it's simpler, in certain ways it's harder. It's a bit simpler because you don't have a heated bed, you don't have a hot end. So all these like electronics kind of like are a lot simplified. You have a couple of end stops and you have a couple of steppers, that's it. But mechanically I think it's a little bit more difficult because you can see here, you have two rods on one side and two on the other. So you have 4 rods on Y. And here we have 1, 2, 3 rods on X. So it's a lot of like things that need to be perfectly parallel. And this is supposed to be quite stiff. So it's a bit different challenges than a printer, I would say. Hi there, Shadowfire. And hi there, welcome. And Patsimir, wow, it's a full house today. Welcome, welcome. So then, so that's kind of like how this is supposed to turn out. And by the way, like as a spindle here, you see like there's a massive hole. I don't have it here right now, but I have a Makita router. Let me see if I can figure out that. It's a Makita. I can't remember the model name. RT07, this one here. So it's a very popular choice for DIY CNC routers and CNC machines. So basically this machine, you see it's like this round thing and it has the shoe here, shoe that you can detach here. And that will be in the end sitting in this contraption here. And it's simple, you just have to make sure where the tool goes, where you tell it to. Yeah, that is pretty much all that is there to do. And use Loctite. I actually got, oh yeah, my Loctite was empty. And I made the smart decision this time to go with a Loctite, very hard to open though, with the stick where you can just like stick the screw in a little bit. I think this is a lot more, a lot easier to apply than the liquid. So Yeah, and the 700 series Makita. I think there are a couple of different ones. There's the 702, there's 701 as well, I think, and the stock 700. I have no clue what the difference is. I know that the model number changes a little bit depending on the accessories you have with the router, but yeah, for us, it doesn't really matter. How much does it cost? Well, there's this, the basic Ender 3 CNC. And I think for this one, you basically don't need anything. You need like some sort of Dremel or handheld router to actually cut stuff. Besides that, it's mostly just the parts of the Ender. So like as cheap as you get the used Ender 3 plus like 100 euros. This one is a bit more expensive, I think. So mine is based on Ender 3 Max, which I didn't know existed, but seemingly there was a bigger version of the Ender 3 at some point. So it's a 300 by 300 millimeter build area. And that means that my Ender 3 CNC will be a little bit bigger. That's why I went with the Max, but I think I paid 75 euros for this Ender. Which I already took apart and cleaned. So I have two boxes here with all the Ender. Like this is a little bit more stuff that we need later, but like these are all the Ender electronics, and in here there's like all the Ender hardware flying around. So this is like the Ender 3 Max in parts. I also have the extrusions over here. I wanted to take that apart before the stream because I wanted to clean the parts. The machine was super dirty. I posted some pictures on Discord, but basically everything was baked in hairspray. So whoever used that used tons of hairspray for bed adhesion, and like everything was like baked into hairspray. It's like horrible. I didn't even know there was stick Loctite. Yeah, I also didn't know that for quite a while, and like somebody pointed it out, and I also saw it, I think, on Steve Builds. Yeah, and like this is like way easier. I think it's a bit more expensive, but yeah, it's just like you don't have to hassle with like the drops. With Loctite, never used it. Yeah, that's the right approach, Steve. I tighten screws and mod too much Loctite and done. Yeah. Well, so basically for today, let's just quickly go back to Fusion. My goal for today, like besides just getting started, and Ravenkeeper, tell me if this is the wrong approach, but I think my goal would be to basically assemble this, more or less, like plus this like one part here that is on the back. But basically my idea would be to assemble it like from the inside out, so to say. So we first do the Z-axis, then we do the X-axis, and then once that is done, we put everything together on the Y-axis here with the frame. Reason for that is simply the rods, because basically if you the bearings are in here. Let me just quickly show you how that looks. So you see here are the different bearings in there. So it's like 1, 2, 3 bearings, and it's like trim piece here. The reason, like if you now want to put this together, basically you have to put the bearings in, you have to put the rod in already. So basically before you can assemble this base frame here, the rod needs to go in, of course, and the bearing needs to be in the rod at this point. Which also means this part needs to be on the bearing, and then you kind of have to assemble everything backward, so to say. So that's why I kind of start with Z and then work my way down. Flexu, welcome. And yes, it's a CNC build. So yeah, I would say like let's just start with the bearings. I don't think I want to do all the bearings now. I have 20 bearings in total, which is more than we need. I think we need 2. So we need 6 bearings for this main block here. Technically, we can do them next time. That's actually, but I think it's nicer to assemble these bearings before we install everything on this block. Just to check, so how this works, basically, we have this like printed part here, this base, and there are like two 2020 extrusions here, and they are mounted from the back. I'm just checking now that everything stays accessible screw-wise, because there's one, there's one, two behind the chain here, you see it here, and then on the bottom there's one more. So we can just punch in the bearings. And we also have to assemble, the lead screw basically has special assembly. We also need to do that. And that's actually, this will be very painful. I can already tell you that. There are two like inserts here. They're very close. This is the modification I made. So this is not from Ravenkeeper. If I struggle to do this, it's all my fault. So we have to put like linear, like the thread inserts in here very close to the border here, or the wall. Bit of the strange assembly with rods, yeah. But it's always like, also with rods like on the printer, right? Like it's always like awkward because like you cannot really like put something over it later. You have to do it like in a specific order. My linear rods, Z-axis are much more smooth than linear rails. Is that okay? You mean like there's less friction? I mean, that's fine. Like they can glide as long as there's not like play. You're golden. Usually, if you have more than one of these bearings, you shouldn't have too much play. Okay, I have a whole box with printed parts here. This is nearly 2 kilograms of PLA. Was quite a bit of printing, but the parts turned out quite nice, I think, overall. So this is the center part here. There's also a little bit of support we have to remove. And then we have to fit the bearings in here. And I already know they are quite tight, so that will be fun. Okay, but it means I'll just grab 6 bearings and then we can start with cleaning them. I mean, I could use scissors. I'm just quickly gonna bathe everything in alcohol, just to get the oil out. Usually they come with like some oil in there for transportation, which we don't want. Hi Neo, welcome. Lucky I just finished programming my keyboard PCB with QMK, otherwise I couldn't have, would have missed the stream. Did you build your own keyboard? You know what? Let's quickly just clean all the bearings. We're not going to lubricate all the bearings, but while I'm here, let's just quickly get it out of the way. This stuff literally arrived like 4 hours ago, 5 hours ago. I ordered it in December and like it took forever to arrive for some reason. No clue what was up there. not sure if you can see that on camera, but like the alcohol got a little bit yellow. It's from the oil, and there's also like, you can see there's a lot of like little stuff, like little debris flying around in there. And I think that's also why it's very important to just clean them quickly before you use them. There you can see it. There's all these like little like black bits, and also some metal, and like, so I think it's important to just clean them thoroughly before you use them. I'll just let them sit here for a second, enjoying the beautiful smell. And then while we are like messing with alcohol, let's also get the linear rails out of the way. These are like really cute little linear rails. It's a little bit like tap. I'm just gonna fill this bag here. Which has a massive hole on the bottom, so this did not work. Perfect. Let me try folding this over. Because usually I clean them in the bag. No, this will not work. Let's do it like this. Now we have enough alcohol to like submerge one of the bearings. I'm going to remove the end cap here and be really careful. Doesn't feel like I get them deeper in. Not ideal. It's nicer if you have it in the bag, but with this, I cut the other bag and threw it away, and this one has a hole, so not gonna happen. Okay. Let me quickly toss that. And let me quickly wash my hands. I'm back in a second. Here we go. 60% ISO DES layout is really a problem. PCB that could. Yeah, I think with the German layout you'll struggle with getting parts for sure. Sounds like a very nice keyboard. I'm actually like, I used to use nice keyboards, but now I use my laptop all the time to type. Okay. Let me park these for a second. Yeah, it's always insane how much like liquid is in these bearings. Okay, I think this is dry enough. So we use 6 today, and then 3 are in each side, in each XY joint, and then I have 2 as like spare, basically, if one of them doesn't turn out to be nice. They are quite hard to insert into the printed part, so I definitely want to quickly test them before we push them in. Then for, oh, I hope this is enough. So I printed this little thing. It's the same what we basically used on the last stream for lubricating the bearings. Not last stream, like for the last project, the Satsuma. With the small difference that this one is a bit bigger. So I hope this works just as well. It seems like we only fit 1 bearing. So let's see if that works. Yeah, it looks good. Now it just squeezes out on top, so I think this is full. And now let me just show you the difference. So this one is now packed. So you see it's completely full of the grease, whereas here you can see like it's empty. Like you see the balls here, and like when you move it, like you hear it jiggle. So this is kind of what you want. Just need to make sure to align the grooves with the holes. And that's what I feared. We have to refill the syringe. I did not consider that we need this much grease. I do have enough, but it's not the nicest job putting it in there. Especially because like as I use this up, like it gets deeper and deeper. I think at some point I will just cut the top here a little bit. Let me see. what can I use? I think last time I used I did this. Oh, smart people would have this is a big mess every time I have to do this. That should be enough. I think there's a good argument to buy the Super Loop. Like this is the Mobile EP2, which was a recommended one from Voron. That's why I got this one. But to be honest, like this is such a pain every time that there's also the Super Loop, it's called. And that comes like in a nicer packaging. And I hear people don't recommend it. I don't know. But to be honest, I see a lot of people using it. And you don't have to deal with this shit. On the plus side, you have you get greased tweezers. They're running very smooth now. Okay, let's continue the fun. Do we know? Yeah, I think all of them are fully packed. They also get like a lot heavier when they're packed with grease. Okay. EP2 is good. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, right? Like it's a good grease, and I like it's very long lasting as well. Like you don't have to re-grease. But man, it is a mess. And these bearings will also make a huge mess on the rails now, because like there's too much grease in now because you completely packed them. So a bit of this grease will be pushed out again. So the first couple of times it goes back and forth, like it just pushes out a lot of grease, and you just have to clean the rails. This is the most bearings I for sure did in one go at any point in time. Before using these adapters, I just like squeezed in grease and like moved the rod over. Compared to that, this is like very quick and efficient. So that's all our bearings. Now we have a bit more. Because we also have to do the linear rails. And they luckily have two carriages. So what I usually do with the linear bearings, not sure if this is the best way, that's how I do it. You can technically take them off, which you also could do. But this works quite well, like you position the carriage over a hole, and then you squeeze in until you see left and right that it comes out. And if I would have been smart, I would have used the same hole for both now. Because what you need to do basically afterwards is you have to clean this hole. Quickly wiping up the excess. And then the fun part, there's like a lot of grease now in this hole, so you have to quickly get this out. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just most of it should be out. Or just be lazy and do every other hole with a screw. Fair point. Yeah, but these are, like, you do feel the difference between them. This one is a bit more heavy. Okay, now let's do what I said before I should do. Let's just pick one hole and do both through the same hole. And we only have to clean one hole. That's fine. Okay, let me quickly wipe down the exterior again with a little bit of alcohol just to get a little bit clean, that if I handle it later that I don't have like greasy hands right away. Okay, whew. That's all the dirty work. And I keep this syringe with adapters in this bag that like it doesn't spread everywhere. Okay, then I think I will quickly clean my hands again. Just so that I have all that grease off my hands. And then I think we can start assembling stuff. Let me also trash all this paper. 1 second. So, 30 minutes watching bearing cleaning and greasing. I'm so sorry, Steve. This is what it is. Steve, I fully agree. The problem is they arrived today. Like, I couldn't have prepped them before. Like, I literally was working until like an hour before the stream. So I had no time to prep those. And if I do like one, I'll do the rest now. Okay, so printed part. Let's quickly remove this support here. Looks quite good. Just removing the edge here to make sure that we don't have the elephant's foot, because then the bearings will not fit. Okay, and then when we insert the bearings now, and I hope this will work, we need to make sure that we insert them in the right orientation. So basically you have like an X of the balls, right? You have one ball race here, one race, like 4 races. And none of the races should be on top. So usually what I do is I just look in the bearing and like make a mark across the, when I see the ball, it's basically just across, I make a mark. Doesn't have to be super precise, but then we know how to insert these bearings. One more. And I also said before we insert them, I quickly want to check that the ones we are inserting are working okay. Because I don't want to be going through the pain of removing them again. That's QC pass. And you see that there's quite a lot of like grease still coming out. Actually, wipe that between. Okay, that looks good. So these are all good. And they are also like, we don't have this problem here with the bearings that we had with the Satsuma, where like the bearings are super loose. I bought a different brand this time. This is RDBB. The same, I also used the linear rails from on the switch wire. And I feel like I used more bearings of them, but they seem to be quite good. Okay, then, so basically I just want to insert the 2 lines facing up. Looks good. They are quite a press fit. See to get this straight in. That's EP2, yes. Welcome, Sven. No, for some reason it hangs a little bit here on the corner. Here we go. Where can I? Let's use the quick clamps. That's the easy way. The whole thing is already baked in grease. Not sure if you can see that on camera. So you have to clean it in a second. Last bit doesn't want to. Let's here we go. Whew. It's not as bad as the Satsuba. I think a trick would have been to put them in the freezer for a bit, because then it will shrink a little bit. CrossFit is a workout, but please tell me that my parts are not like wrong, that like this is how it should be. If I would have been smart, I would have brought a hammer. Okay. Let's see if we have a problem with all three. Okay, so they're almost in. I'm just trying different orientations a little bit. I think for these I need a hammer. Then I just put it flat, put like a piece of wood on and just hit it. Because I also know if I press too hard, like I break the clamp. I had that before. I will mute for the hammer time, yes. Yeah, and 0.1 more hole, that would have helped. I think these are like proper press fit. Okay, let me do the following. I will like these three, they're almost in. I will wrangle them in, like this will work. I'll do it after the stream. I need like some other tools for that. I need some other tools for that. But I did make sure that, because I didn't have these bearings, I couldn't test fit the parts before printing, or like after printing one, or print the test piece. For the other bearings for the lead screws, I printed a subset of the part to make sure that the size is on, and there it's quite okay. So I'm surprised that this one is like a little bit too tight. Did have to sort them out again. Yeah, I can imagine. Like if I would need to get them out, I would put the part in the oven, I think, for like, not a lot, like, because it's PLA, right? I would just put the part in the oven with like 60, 70 degrees. And then it should be like a lot weaker. This does annoy me though, that they don't go fully in now. Let me try without these soft shoes. It did went in further. Like, I can wrangle them in, like step by step when they go in. But yeah, this is upstream. Now I have like a lot of like circles on these. I wonder if I can fit 2 clamps. Good enough for now. My hands are completely greasy again, so that's also nice. Good thing is the alignment is okay for all of them, so we don't have to get them out again. Okay, then let me quickly wash my hands. 1 second, I have to, it's all stick and grease. Okay, so let's quickly take a look in the Fusion. So basically what we now have is this base part here. So I think the next step would be to attach the 2 rails and the top and bottom plate. I think we can already do as well. So let's do that. Yeah, I'm a bit annoyed that they don't go in. Like, but I will convince them. Actually, like also for fitting might be a good idea to... No, I don't want to heat up the part. I do not want to heat up the part. But for the others, I would double check. Not sure if anyone has an opinion on that, but I think I would put them in a bag and would put them in the freezer that they're like really cold, because then they will shrink a bit. This should make it a lot easier to fit. So I should have 2 very short extrusions that basically will go here. And they are flush with the top looking at the Fusion. Let me actually quickly put the Fusion here. So what we need is M5 T-nuts and then some sort of M5 screw. I'm not quite sure what length we need here. I would guesstimate it's a 12. No. We need a 16. This side is a bit scratched. Let's put the scratched side on the back. I'll just put that upside down, that it's aligned. This one didn't flip fully. Quickly. For some reason this nut doesn't want to flip. Just help it a bit. Okay. We're losing a little bit of aluminium from the tapping. For some reason the top one also here doesn't want to flip fully. Not sure if it's me or the nuts, but they don't want, like they flip enough that it's like tightening, but they don't flip fully, which I find a bit annoying. Yeah, it is what it is. Good enough. Okay. Then we have the top and bottom. This part goes here. And these extrusions, these are the only two extrusions that don't come from the ender. These come from the leftovers from this Satsuma. So they have, it's a bit of special, like I modified the parts here. These are M6 screws. So, because like these are a little bit different, it's quite funny to see actually. I'm gonna put them next to each other. They're a little bit different, like just from the dimension. For some reason, the store I buy those from, they sell these. You see in the center, the hole is different. Like here, it's like a smaller hole than here. So these you can only tap M6 and these you can tap M5. So I had to mod the printed parts to accommodate the M6. The other question is, I'm now screwing everything in. There might be quite a bit of vibration on this part. Maybe it's smart to use Loctite on those. I didn't put too much screws in yet, so let's quickly fix it. I think it's a smart approach. Does anyone know if PLA has the same issue as ABS with Loctite? I already love this stick. Like it's the first time I'm using it, but it's literally like easy, like way less hassle. Only question is, do I now get... Because now I'm doing it the wrong order. That's not the correct order. So let me quickly remove this plate again. I think on this machine everything should be Loctite a little bit. Not hammerhead. No, like I thought about those being a little bit nicer here. I'm not sure if I regret that choice, Steve, but because these I don't have to align. That was my thinking. I can just like, you know, slide it on like what it just did. And I don't have to position the other ones. I guess the other ones I could also slide in. Just have to be a bit careful with the stick. It's very easy to get like a lot of Loctite on the screw very quickly. This one doesn't turn again. So considering that, maybe the ones with the spring ball would be nicer. Okay, another question. I think we can already install this part as well, because later there will be bearing here and a bearing here. But I think nothing stops us from sampling that. The only thing stopping us is the missing thread inserts here. Let me quickly get my soldering iron ready. And then the question is, what do we need here? I assume also something in the neighborhood of M316, which I don't have yet. Who watched the last stream, like we ran out of M316s. So let's see if we can use these. That's M312 and it's the wrong screwdriver. Yeah, these are fine. I'm not going to thread lock these. I think it should be fine. I will thread lock the M6s here. People say don't do thread lock on PLA. They say the same with ABS. So I'm not sure. I'm making sure to not smear the thread lock all over the PLA. That's also why I didn't use a thread lock on these two, because these are directly going into the PLA. But these in the extrusion, that should be fine. Anyway, I got this one. This is kind of cute. I love it. It's a little crowbar. I was looking for some screwdrivers from this Viha series. It's a Pico Finish or something. Like I really like them. And I randomly saw this. And this was kind of like, it's very nice. I use it now to remove supports and stuff. That's actually quite nice. So then, yeah, let's do the rails next, I would say. Ravenkeeper, I'm not sure if you're still watching. Why is there like a hole where the rail goes in? Because like it's 15 centimeter rails, right? And I think I didn't have anything too long. But for those, it's also the question, how many screws do we want? Because I think... I heard some PLA, sometimes people just blend depend. ABS is a big no-no, so I've heard. Yeah, like the ABS I've also heard, definitely. I'm actually wondering, I think I want to have one screw in each hole, but then we need to have at least one of these. So Steve, you will hate it, but I think I'll go, go another round for those. Just quickly check that M38 is the correct choice. I think it is, but yeah, M38 is the way to go. On the other hand, no, let's go with the other ones. Because then we have a lot less stress. Let me see. So it doesn't really matter which side we start. Yeah, that works. Yeah, okay, that works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The last one doesn't want to stay, so let's start with this one. Okay, the others look good. That's, by the way, also like a change I made from the original parts. The original model had MGN12C and one MGN12H carriage, so like two different carriages. Ravenkeeper, correct me if I'm wrong, but this was just like whatever you had flying around. But then for me, I just like from ordering, it just makes more sense to order like a rail with two identical carriages because that's usually how they're sold. So I changed the parts a little bit to contain that like basically it fits 2 times the same carriage, and I just went with the C for no particular reason. The holes in the top is just in case someone cuts the rails too long. Ah, okay. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Better to have a little bit of like wiggle room. Two times engine stuff would be Woody Z travel. So using 12 plus C. Ah, okay. Check. So I made randomly the correct choice. Getting accurate cuts on an angle grinder is not easy. That is a very fair point. And also my my lead screws are not perfectly cut to length, I think. There's a little bit of wiggle room, which I hope is a problem. But I have a lot of spare lead screw. I already mentioned to Ravenkeeper in our chat that I kind of screwed up because I blindly ordered the CR10 lead screws. Nope, this is too long. This screw does not belong here. I blindly ordered CR10 lead screws because this is what Ravenkeeper used to build his. Then it turned out that they are like 2 centimeters too short for the smooth rods I have. So I now ordered new lead screws for Y. So it doesn't impact us today, and I hope next week they're there. Don't really have grip with these screwdrivers and my still lubricated hands. So I'll quickly go through and just give each of them a tiny twist. No need to over torque them, but they should be tight. Whew, okay. We also need to make sure that they're parallel in a second. That would also be something we need to do. So I might need to loosen them again. Then, let me quickly put this one back where it belongs, to its friends. Let's install the motor and the lead screw. There are two tiny parts in here, which is a multicolor print. I did manually with a manual filament swap. So these go on here on top to space out the motor. But we also need two skateboard bearings. One goes here in the bottom, and this is exactly the test fit I did with my prints. That these are like easy to to press fit. So I'm not quite sure why the other bearings are so tight. Because these are like really nice, easy press fit. And then I have a lead screw that I cut. Hopefully not too short, but it looks kind of okay. And I have this part basically, where the lead screw goes through, and we will have a bearing block there in a second. What else do we need? Actually, before we do all that, maybe it's like a good moment to quickly check that the rails are linear. Let's just quickly do that first. And how? Ravenkeeper, what kind of screws did you use here? Do you know that? 8s seem a little bit short for me, so maybe I only have 2 10s, so that would need them to be 12s. Let me quickly see if I can screw in a 12 here. No, the 12 bottoms out. You need to take the top off for the motor screw. Sorry, sitting in Fusion as I listen and watch. Wait. Why do I need to take the top off for the motor screw? That should work, right? Let's use M3x8. And this might be another thing where I replace the screws later with M3x10 because like the 8s they don't stick out a lot. Like it's okay to fix it, but not what I want. M310, yeah. Exactly. That's the one length I don't have. But M3.8 is now fine to test fit. Making my life hard, but like these we should loosen. So this rail I want to loosen. So this rail is now like loose. And already having this is like it doesn't bind, but there's a bit of friction. Yeah. So I'm not going to do the inner four. That should be fine. Now I'm just moving it a bit. And this seems to be okay. Like it definitely, the first up down had a bit more friction. So I'm just moving this like quite close to here. Then I'm tightening down the bottommost, and I'm moving it up and tightening down the topmost. You need to take the top bearing plate off and attach the motor spaces. Then, oh, because they attach from the bottom. Ah, check. Yeah, gotcha. But it's not that horrible yet. Okay, but this is good. So I will take this one off again and just screw everything down. So it was really just like to make sure that the two things are parallel. Which one is? Here we go. Okay, so now Ravenkeeper tells us we have to detach these. Here we go. Okay. So there are 4 screws here from the bottom, and that's the reason why we need to do this. But I'm also wondering what kind of screw we need there. So this is M330, which is definitely too short. So I think we're looking more towards M340 or longer. No, that looks good. M340. But we should also get the motor. We have two types of motors. This is a Creality 4240, and I think the other one is 34. So I would use the 40 for the Z. We have one more 40 that I would use for X, because these are the X with one motor. And then for Y, I would use the two 34 motors. And also, memo to myself, I have to remove the pulley of the other one, because this is a press fit pulley. Okay. And the other thing is, this one, oh yeah, it has a flat side. This has a flat side on shaft, because some of the Creality motors don't have a flat side. Then you have to file it down a little bit to create a flat side. How do we do it? Let's put all 4 screws in. Not sure if the logo has an up or down. I don't think so. And the motor wire we will do to the... Wait. I have them wrong. These go like this. More aesthetic than a functional change or difference, but let's do it right. And looking at this, we also have to install the coupler already, because later we will not be able to do so anymore. Oh no, the couplers are in my chaos box. So normally on 3D printers we use these couplers. Oh, Ravenkeeper said, tell me, attach the coupler, thank you. I miss all the messages again. I think I need some sort of notification sound when messages come in, because like I'm in my zone and I'm not really like checking the messages. I also see, welcome Think Method. The algorithm surprises me every time. Welcome to my stream. Please read chat before attaching, yes. Will this be a basic CNC with Dremel? It will be with a Makita 700 series trim router. But yeah, basically. That's just the iPhone. But yes, the iPhone has the feature that it follows you. It's called center stage or something. And I just use my iPhone as a second camera because I only have one camera. Okay, look, where was I? So these are usually the couplers that you find on 3D printers. but they are not very well suited for CNC applications. The reason is that they basically allow a little bit of twist, just like from the way they're built with these cuts basically. The cuts are to compensate misalignment between the lead screw and the thing the lead screw is driving in the motor. But this spring design basically allows a little bit of twist, and that causes backlash. And if there's like load on the CNC because it's cutting, this can cause inaccuracies. So we're not building a high-end CNC here, so I don't think it matters too much. But I have actually these couplers here. So I have these, and they are like just a solid block of brass. So same concept, it's just like they don't have the spring functionality. So let me insert the screws. You're willing to see now? You're a talented guy. No, I'm not talented. Ravenkeeper, who's also in chat, designed that thing, so he's a talent. I was already considering building this Ender CNC last year, and then I did not because I still have a little bit of concerns because I don't have a garage or something where I can use it. So we also will have to create an enclosure for this bad boy. Okay, so I'm just starting this on now. This is the wrong one. I'm mixing up all my screwdrivers. Okay. So I'm just putting this on. And then I think I will slide the coupler pretty much all the way down. I just don't want to touch it. I don't want to touch the bearing there, but I'm sliding it pretty much down. And then smart person would have rotated the motor. So now the flat side is facing me. And now we just need to make sure that one of the screws is on the flat side, and then later we are certain that it won't rotate around the shaft. Okay, and then basically we can also drop in the lead screw. Not yet, but later. We can basically just insert that, and then everything spins happily. Let me just quickly check that the lead screw can be tightened here. Yeah, that's okay. And then I think this can go back on our assembly here. Save this for when I have some unused money left. It's actually quite cheap, to be honest. Like if you, I'm building like the premium version basically with the MGN 12 rods, but you can also build the basic version, which Ravenkeeper mentioned is like 60-70 euros and the used Ender 3. No, I'm not just using this channel. Well, welcome to the channel. I'm assuming you use linear bearings. We're using linear rails for that, and we use linear bearings, LMU12 for X and Y. Just to check, so later we need to insert the lead screw from the bottom, which we can do. And it stands out a tiny bit here, which is okay. This doesn't really matter. Okay, then, and this is the part that I'm a bit afraid of. So, initially Ravenkeeper designed this machine. Ravenkeeper designed this machine to use these anti-backlash nuts. So basically how it works is you have two nuts, and I'll just quickly get it started, with a spring in the middle. And then you have a second nut that has like this little cutout here, and that will lock into the first nut. And now when you put this on, basically, the spring pushes the two nuts apart, and this reduces the backlash, because if you only have one of the nuts in here, there's a bit of wiggle in the lead screw here. The reason is basically that the nut, of course, is not 100% tight on the lead screw, but that means it can wiggle a little bit back and forth. So this is the anti-backlash nut, which works great for printers, but for CNCs they're not recommended, because the cutting force can overpower the spring, basically. What instead can be used, and that's something I copied from the Milo CNC, or Milo Mill, I think it's called. This is a zero backlash nut. And it goes in. So that's basically two normal nuts. One will be fully tightened. In our case, I think that doesn't really matter. That might be the bottom one, whatever. And this basically if they're tightened towards each other on this part, basically, they press the lead screw from, like the thread of the lead screw from both sides. So you have zero backlash. The downside of this is you have higher friction. That's usually why you don't do this on printers, for example. But here you have now no backlash, basically. This is basically as close to a ball screw as you can get. Base one is 60, 70 euros. If you have an Ender 3 Pro or some clone of it. Well, the Ender 3 Pro, like, you get really cheap used. Especially, you don't care if the machine is printing or not, right? So I've seen, that's Netherlands, but I've seen an Ender 3 being sold, used, not printing, because, I don't know, something with the hot end, for like 40 euros. If you're planning on taking the thing apart anyways, and you're not using it as a printer, you don't really care if the thing prints or not, right? Like if the motors work and the power supply work, then that's basically all you need, right? The bomb is really cheap. Is that I don't have room to make such a mess. Exactly, that's also the problem I had. But I will build an enclosure for this machine. And then I hope that it will be fine. Because I've also seen like desktop CNC is a thing, right? Like people have desktop CNCs in their offices and whatnot. And it doesn't seem to be such big of a mess if you have an enclosure around it. And I will have a vacuum cleaner attached. Okay, so let's I think this is supposed to be in this orientation. So I would say the bottom one. Ravenkeeper, I think I screwed up here a little bit. Because I should have made this part a little bit shorter. Because now if I add the nut here, this will cost me Z travel. The Cavera, yeah, exactly. It's one thing I was looking at, but then like way too expensive. So, Ravenkeeper, what do you think of me flipping this assembly upside down? I think there's no impact on that. That we have this part basically leading, because here we have a bit more space, so I don't lose travel. I wonder why this side is so tight and the other one is fine. But I will flip that over. I don't think there is any problem with that. Oh, I feel like there are a couple of M310s in here. So this side I will fully tighten down. So this one is fully tightened down. And this one will be floating. So we put it in this way. And I kind of want to have the nice end on the bottom. And you see actually here, it's quite interesting or funny, I don't know. So as I tighten this in, you see like it pushes it out. So this just aligns. And now, like the distance between the two is kind of set, just like from the thread. So what I can do now is put 2 screws. Important with Loctite, like there's no way around Loctite here. And I can tighten this, and depending, like now it's completely seized up. I actually think I need a little bit longer screws here. So I will just open this like half a turn. And now I can twist it again. So it's like basically if you over tighten it, like the tighter you have it, the more friction you will have. We're looking for kind of like a sweet spot, of course. I think this is quite good. Like there's no play, but I can still freely spin the lead screw. But I will use a little bit more Loctite here. Because the Loctite in this setup here is essential. That's too tight. It's really like a Minimal turn makes a big difference. I think this is good. So basically, distance here is set, so we can remove that. And then we have to I have too many of these screwdrivers here. Might be a bit too tight because it's very hard to move now. Like it's... Let me see, so let me quickly tighten these down. Would have been nice to have like some turning knob here. VH screwdrivers, yes, I have lots of them. I have lots of VH screwdrivers. Like these are, I use them so much that the product name's gone. Pico Finish. I think they're called the Pico Finish. I really like them. And it's over there, but I have like another VH screwdriver now. With like a removable shaft basically. I wonder why it's now so hard to turn. Like I fear there's some misalignment. I mean, it's kind of okay. You just need a bit of grip. And now I shouldn't use my pliers on the lead screw. But here, no nut will ever touch. I think it's okay. I think that's something we have to try out. I will use the M38s here for now, and I will put M310 on my shopping list, and then I will replace those. VIA makes nice stuff, yes. VIA Vera always confuse me. They are actually from the, or like VIA was founded in Wuppertal, same as Vera. Oh, I screwed in the wrong hole. But VIA moved at some point to like a different place, and a different place is very, very close to my hometown. And I know a couple of people working at VIA. That's why I prefer to buy their stuff. VIA makes a nice electric screwdriver. Yeah, I was thinking about getting that, but I don't really need it. System 4, yes, I have a... Wait, let me get it. Can I reach it? Can I reach it? Yes. Because like these, like I'm not really having a lot of grip, and I only have the hex here. I don't have like a billion of them. So I got the system 4 for Philips. So I have Philips, and what I also have, and it's quite nice, is the round hex. So it's basically just these blades with like two things on the, like two bits on the end, and you can just insert them. And you can make it quite short, which is nice, or you just have it like long. And what I like about these, compared to like, you know, like when you normally have the bit holder and the normal hex bit on the front, like it's always wiggly, and these are solid. Like once they're attached, they're nice. So that was my Christmas present to myself. Yeah, we will need to see if the stepper can turn that, or if we need to work a little bit on smoothness. But if I now use the pliers here, like it's quite okay. It's just like by hand I can't turn it, like I slip on the... But this is, I would say, a Z assembly. So far everything fits together. And, oh yeah, so here we have, by the way, the same setup that we have here with these two. The only thing I quickly want to see is if I can turn this all the way up. Yeah, so this is now the top position. That sucks a bit. So we lose like... where's my calipers? Ah. Roughly 6 millimeter of that travel. It's not the end of the world, but also not ideal. So I might replace this part later on. Also considering we now have it upside down, which I don't think will do much. Do I have it upside down? Yes, I do have it upside down now, which, I mean, it's fine. The part is symmetric besides that. I'm wondering how much force you can apply. You mean with the screwdriver? I mean, like, it's a normal screwdriver grip. Like, it's a lot more than with the Pico finish. That's like, with these, like, you can't really apply a lot of force, which is fine for like printer stuff. But like sometimes I want to have a little bit more oomph. This is too big. We have a screw that I can screw with this. But yeah, you have a lot more, like it's a lot sorry, it's a lot beefier. Like, that's nice. Oh, the Z end stop, yeah. Which we, by the way, also didn't install yet. Like, this can be installed later. But for Z end stop, technically you can also just like print a little like block and just glue the block there that like the Z end stop is. Yeah, but that was just the oversight from my side. But to be honest, looking at this, I think we can also flip it over and have it the right side up. I don't think this makes a huge difference. Let's give that a shot. Please see, I have to. Don't think this is turning. Oh shit, this is the one we already did. Why does this not allow me? For some reason it doesn't allow me to turn right now. I wonder where it hangs now. For some reason it allows me to turn one direction, but in the other direction it doesn't really turn. Here we go. Okay, let's do the following. I will also because it's very hard to turn, let me try to get a little bit less tension here, but like minimally less. Let's see if that helped. Oh yeah, that helped a lot. Now I can turn it by hand. But it seizes up here. Like I can turn it this way. This way I can turn fine. All the way to the end, that's fine. But here, like it really freezes. So I think the bottom is not correctly aligned. Let me loosen these here. Yeah, I think the bearing here. Let me quickly remove this bearing. No, it's still like, it's not the bearing here, like it's still seizes up. That's weird. Might be super over concerned with the brass coupler. Yeah, but then why is it at the end? Because like I can turn it like fine. And now also the lead screw is not constrained here on the bottom, right? Like there's no constraint on the bottom. Oh, there was a carriage stuck and that pushed down. So now I can go all the way down. Let me try to add the bearing back. It will bottom out anyways. Yeah, that's also something I think. It might not really need the bottom position. Might be super over constrained with a brass coupler. Yeah, that might be something. I do have the 3 print couplers as well, so we can try it out. Rail carriages are not attached at the moment, so they're out of the equation. There's just here this one screw in there that for some reason doesn't come out, and that's interlocked with this one carriage here. Ah, it was the carriage the entire time. It works perfect. Okay, let's attach this carriage. So basically there's one screw in here that doesn't come out. And that just pushed the carriage basically into the end stop on the bottom. Oh, the only thing I might want to change, I just noticed like this rail slipped down like into this pocket, like there's a gap here. It's more like a visual issue than anything else, but I might want to quickly solve that. What's up with this screw? Okay, let me quickly remove the lead screw. But I think the setting here of this lock nut here is pretty good now. Like it has no backlash that I can feel, but we also don't have like a lot of friction on the lead screw. Okay, so on this side you see here is a gap in the carriage. So I will quickly loosen this side again. We already had them aligned, but hey. Thought you had 2 carriers attached. No. No carriers attached yet. Let's see. Okay, now I just slid it down. This is really just like a visual thing. Now we're gonna attach the carriages. And same on this side, and then we can align the linear rails again. You know what? Now I already have this like nice screwdriver laying around here. So the right size. Yeah. Well, it would help to put a screw in there. Yeah, this is a lot nicer. Okay, so this one is fixed, this one is loose. Okay. Let's see if we can combine that. I think it looks good. Yeah, perfect. And there's like no wiggle, like if I just push this up and down, like the lead screw turns, but like there's no... Oh, that's interesting. I can pull, of course, the shaft of the motor. That's not good. Ravenkeeper. Do you have some tips and tricks for this? So basically, if I now push here, I can of course push the shaft in. So I think we need a little spacer here to like fill that gap, because otherwise you can change the position on that by force like this. 2 carriers attached. Don't do that, but using the ender ones, but thrust bearings and fixes. Yeah, I think we need to add a little bit of stuff here if we want to fix that, because like this is just like the shaft is like just by magnets, right? Like this is normal that you can push the shaft in. So that is to do. Let me think of what we can do. But overall, this works well. Just that, like, we have this, but I think a bearing. Are they called thrust bearings? I don't know. Like on top would help there, because it's a lot less likely that like the cutting force will pull it down, right? Like usually it's just like about pushing up. So there should be some to your tempo of thrust bearings. Yeah, exactly. That's what I think. But most likely from how much space there is, we also would need a tiny printed spacer, but that's fine, right? But then we have like, if we add the thrust bearing there, this is extremely like solid Z-axis. With the extrusions here and everything, like the only thing we still have to do is like push in the bearings the rest. You know what? I'll give it one more shot here. Before I off stream take out the big guns. Is the red crosshair decoration some kind of tracking marking? No. Also there I refer to Ravenkeeper, who came up with this. So I think it's rods that are crossed. Oh, success. Maybe my grip force recovered. This one, I think if I pull harder, I break the clamp. Yeah, that needs a hammer. Just whatever I could manage to make that will have a CNC inspirational look with arrow pointing XY directions. Okay, cool. But I think this is quite a good progress. Like we have that now done. Looking at the time, I think this is a good point to cut for today. I will order the thrust bearing here. I think that's an excellent idea. And then like with the zero backlash nut here, this is an extremely solid Z-axis. I think if I would reprint this part for some reason, I would add a little bit of a cavity on the bottom here that we don't lose any travel. But besides this is like a really solid assembly here. Cool. Okay, cool. Yeah, then I would really just cut it here. That's usually my stream length. And then I see you next week with the X-axis for sure. For the Y-axis, I'm still missing the lead screw. So potentially we have to wait there a little bit. But we can also insert the lead screws, I think, a little bit later. So potentially we can also build the frame and the Y-axis because the lead screws can really just like slot it in from the back. So that should not stop us. How did I smear thread locker on this motor? But yeah, I like it, and looks sharp. When not an engineer designs a CNC, we adapt later. Yeah. I don't think Ravenkeeper's an engineer, but I think he has like a good hand with these designs. I think I can say that. Because like, yeah, overall, like I think it's quite solid, and there are many working examples out there, so it definitely produces a working machine. Cool. Okay. I'll clean up and enjoy your weekend. See you next week. Bye.